Mr. Marceau back here on WrestleRant Radio. We're talking NXT TakeOver 31. No fancy name, unfortunately. We're kind of short for time here today. Can't have you on for the full show, but I don't think we missed a TakeOver prediction panel yet in the last 2 or 3 years. So I would be remiss, Mr. Marceau, to not have you on here today to talk TakeOver on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think we missed one in a long time, so had to get this one in.
So when I was texting you earlier, you were like, oh, no, it's cool if I don't come on. I'm like, yeah, but I really want him on. Like, of course, of all the shows, I'm like, fuck, it's a TakeOver prediction show. Like, I can't miss this. So we're going to talk TakeOver real quickly here. There's only 5 matches announced for the card. I could have sworn, and maybe you can correct me, Mr. Marceau, that maybe it was on the pre-show they announced it for, or maybe it was never even announced, that the Undisputed Era versus Lorcan and Birch match would happen, with the winners earning a tag title match. Does that have anything to do with TakeOver at all?
I don't know if they had a set deadline of when that match is going to happen. I thought it just said whoever won their team would then face each other for a number 1 contenders match. I don't think it said it was going to be for TakeOver. Maybe it did. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like we haven't seen those guys in a couple of weeks. We haven't seen Maverick and Dane in a couple of weeks. They were doing the tag team thing with Undisputed Era. I don't know if one of them had COVID. That's pure speculation. I don't know if they did or not, but I don't know what's going on there because the whole NXT outbreak happened. I apparently, reportedly, shuffled up a lot of what we're going to be seeing on Sunday. But on paper, to be quite honest with you, although it is absolutely a filler show, this looks to be a very good show, and the takeovers never disappoint. Kind of gives me takeover respect vibes from almost exactly 5 years ago. But we work from the bottom, work our way up here with the only non-title match on the card as of right now, Kushida, Velveteen Dream. Slightly random. I liked how on the show last night they gave Kushida more of a motivation as to why this match is happening, why he's more aggressive. He beat, I think, Tony Nese. He's been winning a lot more lately, which for me as a Kushida fan is great to see. Velveteen Dream, you know Mr. Marceau, I've always been a fan of his, but up until this year with the whole speaking out thing and just, I don't know, he's been on and off. He hasn't really had any momentum at all. He's lost a lot of TakeOver matches. Just face to heel. He just really has nothing going for him right now. And you would think around this time of year, oh, the draft's coming up. Maybe he's going to Raw or SmackDown. People could not care less. And even without the speaking out stuff, which is bad enough, I feel like people just wouldn't care because he really hasn't been lighting the world on fire in 2020. But this should be a good match. I am looking forward to it from an in-ring standpoint, though I do feel like it's a massive waste of time unless Kushida wins. I feel like if he doesn't win here, he might as well just pack it up and go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling when the border opens up again to the whole travel restriction and shit, just because the guy has done a lot of nothing so far in NXT. But this is his time to really rise up and shine. If he can't win this match, I feel like it's just pack it up and go home type of thing.
No, I completely agree. I'm not a big fan of either guy. Kushida, just isn't really my cup of tea. But like you said before, with Velveteen, I think he just, I don't know if I would say he peaked too early. I just think you know what it is? I think the fans peaked him too early. Was he a good wrestler? Yeah, but I feel like fans were pushing for him to be NXT champion 2 years ago. And then now, obviously, with everything that's happened, he's just been an afterthought on NXT. Couldn't really tell you the last time besides that match against
Alistair?
No, Cole.
Oh.
A few months ago.
Oh, yeah, TakeOver. Okay, yeah. I thought you were going with something else. Okay, yeah.
No. But I just think lately, even with those title matches with Adam Cole, he just seemed like he had cooled down a lot. That I just didn't think he was going to win the belt, and now he's kind of just petering at this point. So, like you said, if Kushida loses here, he might as well just pack it up and go back to New Japan, go hang out with Kenta, because his NXT won't be as memorable as his was. So I'm going to go Kushida here. There's no, like you said, Velveteen winning really wouldn't do anything for him. I just think people don't care at this point. I think he's just kind of run this course, and people aren't really happy about what else has happened with him this year. So I would go with Kushida.
Yeah, I feel like with Kushida, at least, with Kenta, he's actually going on a great success right now in New Japan, so which is cool to see. But his NXT reign was absolutely unspectacular. Kushida so far is a lot like in that Hideo Itami role, although Itami had more success early on than Kushida did. I was going to say the injury bug kind of bit Itami, but it's also kind of bit Dream too. He's only been hurt once, to my memory, maybe twice, but I feel like even before the speaking out stuff, as soon as he returned earlier this year, right before the pandemic happened, and it was a cool return. He was gone for about 5 or 6 months. I feel like he really cooled off since he came back. So, like, he hasn't had any memorable matches. The matches he had with Roderick Strong were just entirely forgettable. The Adam Cole matches I thought were decent. I thought the parking lot brawl was good, but it wasn't great. He was off TV for a little while after that. He had a Finn Balor match a couple of weeks ago that was good, but not great. So I just feel like he's lacking that one true memorable match in the last year or so. And well, obviously Kushida does too, but he hasn't been given nearly as many opportunities as Dream has. So Kushida's got to win here. I'm not saying he absolutely will. They could always change their mind. Dream hasn't won a TakeOver match in a long time, so I could see him winning. But I'm going to stick with Kushida. I'm going to stick with what my gut says, and hopefully I'm right. Otherwise, you're going to have a very angry GSM in your home on Sunday, RJ.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I got to prepare that window. Not jumping through it to be excited, but jumping through it because I'm going to be fucking pissed.
All right, I'll reinforce it when I get off the phone with you.
Perfect. Can't wait to be in the Marceau compound for TakeOver on Sunday, which is going to be great. Let's see. So we got Santos Escobar, Isaiah Swerve Scott, NXT Cruiserweight Championship match. Very excited this is a part of the main card. Just because I don't think in the X amount of years that the title's been around, maybe 4 years, or the last year that it's been on NXT, it's never been defended on a TakeOver, and I never understood why. I did not get that. Maybe it's because we don't have a tag title match in the show, which is fucking terrible. This is the third TakeOver in a row that we do not have a tag title match on the show. That division is dead. But I am glad the Cruiserweight Championship made the show. This should be a great match. The first match they had was good. I really like the back and forth they had, the split screen on Wednesday's NXT. That was one part of the show I really liked. I think this might be Scott's time, because I said this on hashtag. I don't see a lot of these titles changing hands. We'll get to that in a moment. But I feel like if any championship is going to change hands, it would be this one. And I love Escobar. I don't think Escobar loses anything from losing here. Just because the division, it's pretty desolate as well. They have fucking Tony Nese, like who cares? Like they need more people in that division that people care about. Escobar can't really be the king of a division where there's not a lot of people there. And I think with him, he could always move on to bigger and better things if he loses the championship here. A lot like Angel Garza. He could just move on to bigger and better things on the show or on the main roster or whatever. So I don't think he has to win here. I'm going to give this to Isaiah Swerve Scott. I think he takes the title on Sunday.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I love Garza, or not Garza.
Escobar
a lot. Sorry about that. I love Escobar. I love Garza too, though. So
yeah,
it goes both ways. I love Garza and I love Escobar, but I like Escobar a lot. I love the group. I've said this before he even won the belt. I just think he's bigger than the belt. Like he can do more than just the cruiserweight division. So if he lost here, I wouldn't be too upset. I mean, like I said, I think he has brighter futures than just being pigeonholed in that division. So I guess I'll go with Swerve. I think he's been great. I've loved him since his days in Lucha, but he's kind of had good matches, but never really won anything of importance. So a win here would actually help him out a lot. So I'll go with Swerve, and then you can have Escobar go on to bigger and brighter things.
NXT North American Championship, Johnny Gargano challenging again for the title for the third straight TakeOver against Damian Priest. And I'm looking forward to the match. I really like the mixed tag team match from Wednesday's show. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. Gargano just did nothing to deserve it. I know he's Johnny, like he has he's an established name, obviously, in NXT. The guy has not won on a TakeOver, dude, since we were there at TakeOver New York a year and a half ago. He beat Tommaso earlier this year, but that technically wasn't a TakeOver. It was like an episode of NXT. So he hasn't had a big win in a long time, which makes me think he might win here, but I feel like Priest just won the belt. He's firing on all cylinders right now. You've become a fan of his. I like the fact he's champion. I'm really liking what he's been doing lately. I feel like it's too soon. I'm going to say Priest, but I guess I could see a scenario where Gargano might win too, and that's not a bad thing, but I feel like they keep putting Gargano in spots where he just shouldn't or can't win. And I feel like at some point he's got to win a match. So this is an interesting one too.
Yeah, this is definitely a little interesting, just like you said, because Gargano's challenging for the title again. It's just kind of been a reoccurring issue with him. Not that I like Johnny. I don't know. I just feel like he's kind of done it all at this point. I mean, I don't think if he went to the main roster, it'd really help his career. It probably wouldn't even be on TV, so I guess keeping down NXT something. But I really have been enjoying Priest a lot as well, so I would like Priest's reign to continue. He's grown on me immensely. If you listen to archives, I used to just not give two shits about him. But
yeah, I can attest to that.
New babyface, like badass persona just has won me over a lot, and I think his reign should continue. Maybe go on and face like maybe Bronson Reed or someone else in like a deeper program. But I'm gonna go with Priest. Johnny winning the North American title just doesn't do much for me.
Now, the story with the next match, NXT Women's Championship, is that Candice and Johnny both hope to walk out of TakeOver as champions, the first married couple in NXT history to be champions simultaneously. It's probably not going to happen it might happen with Johnny. I feel like Johnny might have a better shot than Candice. Now, I feel like they're building to Io and Ripley at some point, which they've really, drawn out. I thought we would have gotten it months ago, but we're not getting it we'll probably get it at some point, but we haven't gotten it yet. This is a tough one too, because I would love to see Candice win. I'm a big Io fan. I think Io's going to retain. That's my prediction. If the circumstances were different and Tegan was ready, but she just suffered an ACL tear, which, I mean, she might as well just call it a career. That's her third knee injury since she joined the company 3 years ago, and it's a pretty big one too. It's just really unfortunate. So I got Candice losing here, but it would have been nice to see her win and then wait until Tegan comes back and Tegan can take the title from her. But it doesn't sound like Tegan's going to be back anytime soon. So what are your thoughts on the match? Who wins? And what are your thoughts on the whole, Tegan Knox injury situation?
Another tough one here. I don't know. I love Io. I'm not the biggest fan of Candice. Her heel turn's been definitely different, but just isn't my favorite. But I don't know. Like you said, I feel like they had planted the seeds for Rhea and Io again. So it'd kind of be weird if you took the belt off her, like a non-title match. I don't know. I guess you could still do that, but just wouldn't really be too sexy in my mind. So I'll go with Io. I think I was thinking that Tegan probably the one to take the belt off her. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. I think Dakota could always be the one down the line somewhere. They kind of never finished that up. She did lose to her, but I feel like there was still more going there, and they kind of just went away from it. So I'll go with Io here. I wouldn't be totally shocked if Candice won. I don't know. I just feel like they could have Candice win here and then, I don't know, do something else. But, I just think Tegan was the one that I think we both discussed that she'd be the one to take the belt off. So now, obviously, she's out. Maybe they scramble and just change plans. But I'll go with Io here.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So Tegan already went for the title and lost, but did you think that she was probably going to be the one to take the belt from Io ultimately at some point?
I would say so. At this point, I don't know who else I think she was a big enough star. She has the potential to be a big enough star that she could use the rub to beat Io. Besides that, I can't really think of anyone else at the top of my head besides like maybe Dakota.
Yeah, and Dakota's already lost too. It feels like she's beaten a lot of people. What you're telling me, Mr. Marceau, that you don't want to see Charlotte come back on Sunday and beat Io for the championship? Not win on Sunday, but you don't want to see her come back and win the title? No,
thank you.
What? I thought you were all for Charlotte Flair three-time NXT Women's Champion. Come on.
I'm pretty sure that was you.
You know what? Check the archives. That might have been Graham or Mina. It definitely wasn't Graham Gius and Matthews. I don't know, but I certainly did not say that here on the show. But speaking of returns, we'll get to this part real quick. Usually I ask you every TakeOver prediction panel who might debut, who might show up, who might be in the crowd. We haven't had that in like a year, just because I don't think WWE has hired a single person. I said this on hashtag during the pandemic. NXT no exception. Unless I'm missing something aside from Dominic, I don't think they've hired anybody. They've only released people. So we don't have that like fresh blood coming in right now, but we do have a mystery person that's been on the show the last 2 weeks, vowing a return on Sunday. We've had the graphic 10/4/2020, and they've implied that it's someone that used to be part of the show coming back for a championship. They broke into this glass thing with the men's NXT championship, the women's NXT women's title. So it could be a guy, it could be a girl. There's been a lot of speculation. I was hoping it would be Robert Roode just because I thought he would be a good fit back in NXT after they did nothing with him on the main roster for the most part. He's obviously back on Raw, so that's not happening. My only other two predictions are Bo Dallas is probably my number one, just because we haven't seen the guy in fucking like a year, a long time. So Bo Dallas or Ember Moon, but I don't think Ember Moon's ready to come back yet. I've heard nothing about her injury update. What are your thoughts? And I mean, does either option excite you? I think Ember Moon's great, and I like Bo Dallas, and I loved his reign a couple of years ago, but I feel like it's been so long, and people just don't give a fuck about Bo Dallas anymore that I'm not really sure it would move the needle with anyone if it was him.
I was going to say, yeah, Bo Dallas does not tickle me at all. No thank you on that one. I mean, Ember Moon would be nice. She hasn't done jack shit on the main roster, so that would be nice. I mean, Ricochet would be nice. just basically anyone that's on the main roster they're just not using at all would be nice. Besides Bo Dallas, I wouldn't give two shits if Bo Dallas can't. Like, I just don't care. I mean, that's probably who it's gonna be, and I really don't care. But I'm trying to think who else it could be. I mean, I'm trying to think.
I mean, could it be? I've seen some speculation that it could be her, but she, excuse me, she's never been a part of NXT, but she has wrestled on the show before, you know, in years ago. That being Tessa Blanchard, could it be a Tessa?
I would rip my pants off if it was Tessa, but
but I mean, I guess it just wouldn't make sense because she's like, oh, I'm coming back for what's mine, and she's never been a champion there, so that's the only thing.
Yeah, but I mean, you could tie up those loose ends. Hey, it'd be way better than fucking Bo Dallas. So,
wait, don't Bo leave? Come on.
Bo Dallas, I'll be upset. Like, what the thing is, like, what's gonna happen? Is this person just gonna come out during the match, or like, do they like ever kind of like hint on how it's gonna be revealed, or?
No,
really?
they just said they'll be there on Sunday, so they might interrupt. Like, but the thing is, dude, is that I feel like with Bo, they've given him enough shots, and it's not his fault, but it's always start, stop, especially in the main roster in the last 5-6 years. It's gotten to a point where, like Curtis Axel was, where he got released before he got released earlier this year, where it's hard to care. Like, remember when he was coming out a couple of years ago, they started doing the brand split, and it said, I, Bo, leave, and he was starting to be taken, like, seriously a little bit. Like, he had an edge to him a little bit, and he had, like, the Trump signs, but it said Bo Dallas on. Do you remember that at all?
Yes, and then it literally went nowhere because no one gives shits about the
Exactly,
guy.
and then they tried again with the B team, and I don't think that really worked. That was never my cup of tea. I feel like the time to do this would have been like 3 or 4 years ago. I feel like in 2020, it screams Challenger of the Month for Damian Priest, and then he loses. Because Bo Dallas, you know what, as good as he is, the guy's not that great where I want to see him become champion elsewhere. It's a lot like Curtis Axel. It's not like, oh man, if Bo Dallas leaves, you can go on to like a Rusev. Oh, you can go on to AEW and become a champion. He's not that good to the point where I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential there, you know?
Yeah, I hope it's not him because, like I said, I just don't want him in. Like, he's not someone that's not being utilized. He's not obviously not being utilized on Raw and SmackDown, but just like I don't care. Like, even if he was, he's one, like you said, not his own fault. I just like he's like a decent wrestler. Just hasn't had any good character work, and just like he's just floundered. But you can only give someone a certain like he doesn't. Even though I'm bad, I just don't think he deserves a second chance. Someone like a Ricochet or someone who was good in NXT, then got called up and obviously just wasn't used correctly. I think this is who it should be for, someone that like could use it instead of him, who's has been given a million chances.
I agree. NXT Championship real quickly, Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly. I got Finn Balor winning here, but it's more of a question, does Adam Cole cost him the championship? It seems like they're going in that direction, and personally, I don't want to see it happen, but it looks like we might be headed for a Triple H, Randy Orton-esque situation here from Evolution.
I hope not. I mean, I hope that they keep together, especially when they go to the main roster. I don't want them to split up, so I hope that's not the case. But they've kind of, like you said, kind of teased it, so we'll see what happens. I don't want that to happen. I hope they just keep themselves together. They can still be a team and not, like, I don't know. I feel like WWE always does this. Like, they can still be aligned, but, like, they don't have to be, like, teaming together. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never liked that. Like, they're like, oh, like, they're, like, they just think, like, just because a team's not teaming, they just have to break them up, which I think would be a big mistake here. I would keep them together and just have them do their own separate things. I think the match would be great. I love Kyle. Love Finn. I mean, I think obviously Finn's going to win here. I mean, just won the belt back. If they're going to put the belt on Kyle, they would have just done it before, and he wasn't even in that match. So, or unless they just rushed in, just were like, oh, we got to make something big for TV, and they just put all those guys in this to get a rating. So, yeah. I would keep going Finn. I love Kyle, but I would do Finn right now.
I agree. Finn retains the championship, and I'm looking forward to the match. I liked what they did on Wednesday with Shawn Michaels. That sit-down thing I thought was great, so